The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 12th day of June, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. Happy Thursday, everybody. We are, or as some of you say, happy Friday, Junior. We are heading into a long holiday weekend, so I'm sure everyone, especially Sherry and the Sherrys of the world, are excited about that. Unfortunately, that means that I'm not going to get to see you all on Monday. Yep. Heartbroken I am, but I'll do what I can to get by. Everyone else excited? Is anyone participating in any carnival activities or doing anything to honor Bermuda's national heroes? Does the regiment still do like the Queen's birthday festivities, or is it King's birthday festivities? But you get my point. Like, do they still do something on this weekend? Because I remember when it was the Queen's birthday holiday, they used to march and parade. I'm not quite sure. I might be out of touch. I'm not sure if they still do that, but let us know. But anyway, like I said, happy Friday, Junior, to all of you. Kenton Trot says the parade is on Saturday. Thank you so much, Kenton. Yeah, I had a feeling it still took place. All right, so parade is on Saturday. How does one who is like a carnival junkie also participate in the parade? Anyway, there's a lot going on this weekend, a lot. As you have the dinghy race Monday, you have the carnival activities, you have the parade on Saturday. I know a lot of people say May 24th or Bermuda Day is the unofficial start of summer, but this is the unofficial start of summer, junior or senior, however we want to put it. But summertime is definitely on after Bermuda Heroes weekend. Kenton Trot says 10 a.m. folks, start on time, Front Street. Start time is 10 a.m. So, this is the regiment police we're talking about. They start on time. To be on time is to be late. All right. So get there and support fellow Bermudians marching and, on parade for us all. Anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making this part of your daily routine a good one today as we welcome Ondreyah Rochester on from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. We're going to be discussing the upcoming speed networking event that's taking place. I've never taken part in one of these, and I really want to one day because I'm not as much as an extrovert as I once was. Like, I don't shake hands and talk to people like I used to. So I'd like to do this. I use LinkedIn. Maybe LinkedIn has turned me into that person, because I would be a person in a room before where I wouldn't mind going up to every and anybody and just talking to them. Something changed. You all scare me now, man. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the conversation with Ondreyah to see how it helps people like that. Maybe introverts who kind of need a network to grow in their careers. The Daily Play is going to be music today. You all didn't even tell us we made a mistake yesterday. You know full well Wednesdays is music and Thursdays is a name that place. And we did a name that place yesterday and nobody said a thing. Not one of you said anything. Yeah. Yep, that's how it went. So I know who has my back and who doesn't. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow Beyond the Mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone at Hot 1075, everyone who's tuned in on the radio. We appreciate you. To the lovely lady that I met on video yesterday who has been listening on Hot 1075, forgive me. I will remember your name, and when I do, I will shout you out. But we appreciate you for tuning in, and hopefully you continue to enjoy the engaging conversations that we're having on the Daily Hour. All right, let's jump into today's discussion. So, folks, TNN, I'm going to read from TNN. So, Minister Lightbourne, that's Minister Alexa Lightbourne, said the title is Minister Lightbourne Discussion at Cost of Living Summit. So, basically, the government is having its first ever cost of living summit on June 25th. All right. And this is basically on the back of a commitment they kind of made in the 2025 Brown speech, where they made it clear that they would tackle Bermuda's cost of living with strategy, coordination, and courage. Their words, not mine. Well, they went into a survey, right? And the survey, they spoke about, it was just about 2,200 Bermudians or participating respondents in the survey. And they shared that when they asked to identify the most challenging monthly expenses, respondents cited housing, utilities, followed by groceries, food, healthcare, and utilities, right? Well, said utilities twice there, but I'm just reading what's here in front of me. Said, looking ahead, nearly 79% of participants stated they believe Bermuda will be unaffordable within the next 5 years. Well, you heard what Dr. Ewart Brown and I said. Bermuda's going to be looking different probably sooner than that. And then with over 83% saying they expect to struggle to meet basic necessities in the next 12 months. I'm going to stop it right there. And here's your question of the morning. How can Bermudians, look, we've kind of asked this in another way before. I think we need to re-ask this question in this way so that we can all understand that the problems we face, although they may not be of our own doing, we likely have all within us the ability and opportunity to solve them. So how can Bermudians, how can we ease the cost of living for ourselves? How can we ease the cost of living for ourselves? How can Bermudians ease the cost of living for ourselves? And also about this summit that's taking place on the 25th. They said the cost of living summit is a step forward focused on translating the data that they shared into policy and pressure into progress. So the summit will seek to deliver 4 key purposes: to update the public on what we've learned so far, including research findings and stakeholder insights; to confirm solutions through sector-specific panels and open dialogue with representatives from food distribution, utilities, imports, healthcare, and housing; to announce industry partners, private sector organizations who, in support of the government's efforts, have confirmed their commitment to work alongside the government in its cost of living agenda; and finally, to define clear next steps. We seek to demonstrate that we are delivering, we are about action, and we are using the feedback to propel meaningful policies. All right, so you heard all of that. How do you think a cost of living summit is helpful? Do you, yes or no, just a simple yes or no, do you believe that this cost of living summit is helpful? Do you think it will accomplish anything? Or do you think it's just another, like how we keep hearing about new committees or new town halls, and then things just remain the same? How do you feel about that? But also the greater question is, how can Bermudians ease the cost of living for ourselves? Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's going to take great sacrifice on the parts of everyone to truly ease the cost of living. And when I say great sacrifice, you know what really annoys me about us, like Black people in particular? What really annoys me, and this may offend some, but this is an annoyance. We're so quick to move out on our own, especially young people, because we don't want to abide by the rules of the house. Man, I know some non-Black people who they finish college, they travel the world, they come back, they live in a pool house. They don't move out till they're ready to get married, if they ever do. That's how they build generational wealth. Black people, we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to sacrifice. And sometimes it's for good reason, because we don't want to be in toxic spaces that we were forced to be in growing up, right? That could be a reason. So everyone's reasons are going to be different. But for Bermudians, like Black Bermudians in particular, to ease the cost of living for ourselves, it's going to take great sacrifice. Huge sacrifice. And if that means that we have to stay with our parents for an additional 3 years after college so that we can save and invest, that's what we may have to do. If that means that, you know what, I can't really be coming home drunk, I can't be smoking around my house and so on, that's what we may have to do. Because I'll tell you what, giving your parents or your family $500 a month towards bills is much better than being stressed, paying $2,000 simply in rent. But we have to look within to understand that those kind of solutions are there and we have them within us. But how many of us are willing to sacrifice? Audience, let us know though. What ideas do you have? I believe sacrifice. I believe sacrifice. Also, the government's addressing this, the cost of living, by saying they're having a summit on the 25th of this month, 25th of June. Do you think that a cost of living summit is helpful? Yes or no? Do you think that these things are going to move the needle? Yes or no? Let's go to the audience. How can Bermudians ease the cost of living for ourselves? Ariana Hudson, former senator, says, I understand that we can change how we live, but I also wonder if it's a bit utopian to believe we can practically reduce the cost of, and I don't know if she's finished. I think this is my, that's why I didn't say reduce the cost. In the question, it says ease the cost of living for ourselves. I'm glad you picked up on that. It's impossible. Like Teo and I said it after the election. How does a government reduce the cost of living outside of creating policies that make it easier for business to operate, right? Maybe reducing taxes and the like. Like, it's not something a government should be promising. However, there are things that we can do to ease the burden as individuals, right? How we live can actually reduce our expenses. That's the point I'm making. How we live can reduce expenses. And the example I gave, if you're just tuning in, is simply, instead of being so quick to move out of mama's house or daddy's house or family house because you want to drink, smoke, or have your independence, or have your girlfriend or boyfriend over, or just be an adult, make some sacrifices. Say, you know what? For the next year, next 2 years, whatever, this is how I think we can do such and such. I'm going to give my parents $500, $600, $700 towards their bills. And if the average rent is $2,000 for that one bedroom, I'm going to save $1,300. I think that's the mindset we have to shift toward. Does that make sense, audience? And Ariana Hudson says, right. And then we have policy versus the real work impact. And she says, agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kenton Trott says, if you can build onto your parents, grandparents' homes, that's how I got my start. That's another option. Absolutely. That is another option. If we have that option, go for it. And I want to be very clear in saying this, folks. Everyone's situation is different. There is no one way fixes all problems here. My living situation is going to be totally different from your situation, and your situation will be totally different from another person's situation. I don't have the answers. I'm just throwing out ideas. We're brainstorming here. Remember, the daily hour is a brainstorming session. What I'm trying to get us to do is understand that the government cannot truly save us. We can go on social media and blame the government for the cost of living. Right, we can. We can blame private businesses. We can blame the banks. But once we're done complaining, we have to figure out what it is we can do to help ourselves. That's my point this morning. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Folks, again, just answer this question, yes or no. No one's answered this one yet. Do you think a cost of living summit is helpful? Yes or no? The government has a cost of living summit coming up June 25th. We're going to be addressing a number of things and the data received in the survey. Do you think a cost of living summit is helpful, or it's just another meeting for the government to have? Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I believe the only way the cost of living summit would be helpful if they give the community options on how they can ease the cost of living, reduce spending. Okay. Sure. Thank you for that, Mark Arthur C. Phillips. Suzanne Ingham says, no, I don't think it will be helpful. I don't think it is going to move the needle anywhere significant. Stay home and help with the mortgage and renovations, upkeep of the house. I agree. I agree, Suzanne. I agree. And, you know, I'm not a government defender, regardless of who's in the government, but I think this is more on how we are going to choose to live. I really do. I really do. I think this is going to be on us. Even a vehicle situation. Can we share a vehicle at the house? If one works in town and one works in St. George's and we live in Warwick, maybe drop someone. Like, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Is a house in the family paid off where we can, you know, sacrifice for 6 months? Because remember, folks, we also have that housing crisis where people can't find places to live, right? I think, let me be very clear in saying this, not dysfunctional, but functional families and communities are the solution to the rising cost of living. Functioning family and communities may not reduce the cost of living, but they can definitely ease the burden. Hedley and Swan says, yes, she believes that the summit will be helpful. We've got Anthony Richardson says, what are the end goals of the summit? There has to be an end goal. Otherwise, it's just talking shop, feel good moment. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. And, you know, based on what I saw on, I read earlier from TNN, it says, you know, they kind of gave you the 4 key purposes. But I think you're right. The end goal, like, okay, are we going to, what was that report? Remember when the OBA got in power, it was that committee that was put together, and neither the OBA or PLP, I think, followed those recommendations. I think, what was that? You know what I'm talking about, audience. It was that thing. It was that report. It was that report that was done. Yes, thank you, Anthony Richardson, the SAGE report. So I think that's why I'm a bit skeptical about things like this, because we have these meetings. We have these, thank you, Diane Elliott, SAGE. Are we really going to take on the recommendations? Are we going to really use the information addressed, or is it going to be politics as usual? Manuela Jones says the cost of living summit will only help those who have it in mind to work with their family rather than going out to make their own, disregarding family situation. Absolutely. Again, folks, I say this respectfully. We have to take our destiny out of the hands of the government. And if I can tell you anything on this show, anything, I would say this. A lot of the key issues we face, we can solve them on our own. We really can. Whether it's crime and the police, we could solve crime on our own if we talked. You know, go back to that quote, I think Desmond Crockle, a community activist, said, Bermudians love to gossip, but we don't love to talk, right? We can solve these issues. I believe it. We can find ways to ease the cost of living for ourselves. We just have to want to do it. We have to want to do it. James Burgess says, let's give the summit a chance. Alrighty, thank you all so much. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Let's show them some love. And then we've got Maya Palacio coming up for the Daily Hour News Break. Before we bring Ondreyah Rochester in, we'll be talking about speed networking.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty. Just want to read these comments real quickly before we bring Maya in. Anthony Richardson says, the government needs to do the deep dive to come up with plausible solutions. Too often reports end up collecting dust and mold in libraries and cabinets. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, we have hit a history of not following recommendations in reports. Absolutely, which is why the question is this summit going to be helpful? Rosalind Famous says, I'm curious, what's the registration fee for the summit? I'll get back to you on that. I don't know if I saw anything. We've got Cameron Fox says, community and family gardening. We need to get back to bartering. We used to get the community to help build our houses, feed people for the work. We've spoken about that on this show. It is absolutely correct. The barter system, right? We didn't have to really go to banks, right? And then Suzanne Ingham says, exactly, Jamal, we can solve our issues if we came together. No one knows us, Bermuda, better than us. We have awesome talent here in all ages. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, M to the P. How are you?
Feeling good this morning. Enjoying this conversation. It's got a lot of layers to it for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you got anything to add?
I think you kind of hit it on the nail and almost answered your own question there when you're talking about in specific when it comes to race, like why do Black people like leave the house so quickly? And you might see our white counterparts, maybe like you said, traveling and then going back home and living in the pool house. I feel like that was the answer right there in most cases. Like in the Black community, like that's not like we do not live the same like lifestyle due to a lot of different circumstances of history. But for that instance right there, I think that a lot of people would stay home as well if it wasn't seen as embarrassing, because I think that's a big thing on our island. We are very aesthetic pleasing in Bermuda, and I feel like if we don't leave, people don't think that we're accomplishing anything. Like, you know, so unfortunately, I feel like that's become like a norm to make it feel like you have to leave or else it's like you haven't grown up or like you haven't accomplished anything yet. So it's almost like forced to leave, because I think many will stay.
But it's only one community, right? And it's like it's like even when I was in college, I remember, I mean, girls would be like, oh, or women, young ladies would be like, oh, he's still with his live with his mama and don't got a car. Like literally, like, so you're right. It's like this, you're not a man kind of thing, or you're not an adult, right? Hold on. What is the criteria to be an adult? To spend what I don't have? To live beyond my means? You feel me? It's a very superficial. We've got to stop being hard on our own community. Because I'm glad you mentioned that. It is a race issue. But the unfortunate part, it's a race issue that's all Black. Meaning white folks are not forcing us to go and move out and pay rent. Our own mindset, cultural mindset, is making us believe that's what we have to do, and that's the expectation, so that we can feel like we're accomplished and we're not lazy and living off our parents, right?
Yeah. I would say for the purpose of this conversation, agreed, but there's still like, there's just so many different layers that go to it. Like, before I start on this, like, just one thing I want to add on to that. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but we're just how we visually see people and expect them to be one way, or how we decide they are one thing. One example that came, and I read something about, like, when let's say an immigrant knows how to speak 4 or 5 languages, but that's not considered amazing or impressive. But if a white Harvard student could speak 4 or 5 languages, wow, that's amazing and impressive. Like, how we see things and how it's done in either different races, different cultures, or whatever, we perceive it a lot differently. So yes, in that same sense, that same breath, staying home or leaving home can be seen very differently according to culture and race.
Real quickly before you get into your news break, I want to restate this, because if there are people who are just tuning in, I want to just make sure I repeat this. There are many instances, and I'm saying many because I know of many, not just throwing it out there, but there are many instances where people do move out because their homes were toxic or abusive. And so this is why I say every situation is different. We're not necessarily talking about those situations. So I want to be clear, because I know someone's probably in the back. Oh, well, I moved out because I was in an abusive household and it was toxic and it was this and that. And we get it. We're simply speaking of those who have the opportunity, who haven't maybe considered what they can do to resolve the issues we face with the cost of living. All right, cool.
Indeed, lots of layers. All right, good morning, everyone. This is your daily hour news break, brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. Again, remember, Carnival is basically here. If you need any hydration, pain relief, all of that good stuff, make sure you get your way to People's Pharmacy to get yourself ready for the road. All right, so as we mentioned this morning, survey reveals that most Bermudians will find Bermuda unlivable in a few years as the ministry prepares for the first ever cost of living summit. Now, more than 2,200 residents participated in Bermuda's first cost of living survey. According to the findings, nearly 79% of respondents believe Bermuda will be unaffordable within 5 years, and over 83% expect to struggle to meet basic necessities within the next 12 months.
The results further confirm the reality that the cost of daily life is outpacing the earnings and options of too many Bermudians. These figures reinforce the need for coordinated policy interventions, and in the upcoming Cost of Living Summit, this presents a step forward. It's focused on translating this data into policy and pressure into progress. The summit will seek to deliver 4 key purposes: to update the public on what we've learned so far, including research findings and stakeholder insights; to confirm solutions through sector-specific panels and open dialogue with representatives from food, distribution, utilities, imports, healthcare, and housing.
So you just heard from the Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Alexa Lightbourne, and they announced that the island's first Cost of Living Summit will be on Wednesday, June the 25th at the Hamilton Princess. Now, the event is expected to bring together government and private sector leaders, as she said. Now, the survey also identified housing and utilities as the most challenging monthly expenses, followed costly by food, healthcare, and again, utilities. In terms of perceived affordability, 65.3% of respondents said housing is unaffordable, 61.4% pointed to food, and 56.6% cited the healthcare is unaffordable. Now, the minister also said what most of us have already been thinking and know, quote, these figures confirm what many of us already know. Now, what we don't know yet is what time the event will actually start and end, as that was not mentioned in the press release or the press conference. It was the time of the actual event on that day. And also Jasmine Patterson asks, and we also want to figure this out, but what is the cost of putting on a summit like this at the Hamilton Princess?
Someone asked in the audience, and Mark Arthur C. Phillips does say, I checked the website and see a registration fee for the summit. But I was trying not to go there, but I'm like, a cost of living summit at Hamilton Princess. No one else looking at that sideways?
It's quite expensive. At the press conference, Minister Lightbourne even said that it was put there because they already have all the amenities necessary to get it going. And this is something that they wanted to hurry up and get started and do before the summer begins, instead of waiting until the end of the year, because a lot of people in the community were like, this isn't going to happen till way later. And so they're trying to push as fast as they can. And they said that Hamilton Princess was the best way for them to do it.
Pier 6 sounds less expensive. Charles H. Justice II, he says, to your earlier point, Jamel, maybe we should start with a family summit to try to find ways to make our families more functional. Again, I think the solutions are within us. That's why I used the term functional family and functional community earlier, because there's some dysfunction that exists. But that could be a solution. Focus more. When we started, it's like desegregation. I completely understand. Larry Scott, the late Larry Scott, who recently passed away at Hamilton Consular, was the first person who said it to me many years ago when I was working at Hot 107.5. And he said, integration was the worst thing for Black people. And I didn't understand it quite at the time on that day. And then the next day I got it. And his simple point was that we started thinking the other person's sugar was sweeter, right? We started thinking everything else was better. What Cameron Fox said earlier is kind of what I'm saying with the family thing, and what I think Charles is saying is, you didn't have to go to a bank back then because we leaned on each other in the community. Once we started going to the bank, then we start facing the mortgage issues and the percent. If people really broke down, which we never have conversations about, how much you actually pay for your house in the end, we don't have those conversations. But I tell you what, if the barter system, if you know that term, folks, the African term, we used to put club hands and all that. I forget the term, but we didn't have those issues. Maybe bringing or going back to some things isn't a bad thing. All right, Maya, I'm sorry, you got news to do.
Yeah, let's close up with maybe some pretty big highlights here. Moving on to a couple of sports updates. Caitlin Bobb is to run today in the NCAAs for the 400 meter. And you'll recall she is the ACC 400 meter champion. Now, her as well as Janai Parent-Chief told me that they are gearing up for Bermuda's national championships, which is meant to take place in just over a week here in Bermuda. And it's a great opportunity for a lot of our athletes, especially to garner points and leverage themselves. So even though there hasn't been any official news yet, I got confirmation from these two top tier athletes that they'll be back in Bermuda. Looking forward to that in the next week and a bit. Moving on to also the Bermuda national cricket team is in Toronto competing in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup America's regional finals. Now, it's a battle for a World Cup spot, and the island's 15-man squad is vying for one of the coveted spots in the global tournament. With seasoned players like Captain Tyrion Frey and Vice Captain Sinclair Smith, Trey Manders, Darwin Rollins, and other leading the way, Bermuda faces off against Canada, Cayman Islands, and Bahamas in a 6-match double round robin. Now, I'm currently out in Toronto and have made contact with the team manager and will be attending a practice match today. So expect firsthand updates, player form, and strategies, and a little bit of behind the scenes as well coming to you guys.
Thank you for that, Maya. I just want to say Caitlin Bobb real quickly. She reminds me when I see her, when I see you share video or pictures, she reminds me of the Brazilian football teams back in the day. And anyone who remembers Brazilian football teams, the biggest difference that they had in sport that you don't see now because everything's so intense, they played with smiles on their face, right? When you share stuff, her smile just makes you like, how can you not support her, right? So I wish her the best. And ACC, 400 meter champ, folks, I don't think we understand how big this is. Seriously.
400 meters.
We gotta celebrate these things.
That's a big race too. It's short, middle. It's a very hard race to come. Somebody go to National Stadium today, make it your goal by the end of the month to just run one lap around that track.
Yeah.
It is so difficult.
Yeah.
It is very difficult. All right, closing up, one more thing to add here. A few of the PIC, that's the People's Independent Coalition members, spoke with me to confirm that they are not a political party, that they differ entirely despite claims from the Progressive Labour Party. So there's more to come on that as well this month as I sit down with two of the members. So keep watching this space.
All righty. Thank you for that. How's the weather looking?
Looking like plenty of sunshine with a possible early shower this morning. So, look out for that. Make sure you bring your umbrellas if you're on a bike this morning. Put on your raincoats as you head into work. And we got a high of 82 degrees.
And thank you so much for that. Maya, it's World Against Child Labor Day. It's National Jerky Day. Raggedy Ann and Andy Day. I don't remember Raggedy Ann. I don't know. It's Superman Day. It's National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. It's National Loving Day, loving. I think it was loving the first interracial couple in the 60s in the United States. It's International Falafel Day. It's Red Rose Day. It's Seersucker Day. And it's Russia Day. What's Russia Day? Anyway, those are your days today.
Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Because I've been having this debate with my friends. Is bringing roses or flowers on the first date charming or weird? Like, would you do it? Or would you not? This is Red Rose Day.
I wouldn't take. Audience, let us know. Especially ladies. If a dude bring you flowers, let us know. Is taking roses on the first date? What you say, Maya?
It doesn't have to be just any sort of flower.
Well, I think so. See,
but it's Red Rose Day, so we'll go.
I would say flowers, depending on your engagement before that. I would say roses signify love, though. Right? I thought roses were signify love. So you ain't getting roses from me on the first date. But flowers, if you tell me you like flowers and we were talking for a bit and we finally decided to date, yeah, I'll take flowers.
Flowers on a first date, yes or no? Yes.
It depends on the individual. Seriously, it depends.
That's fair, I guess.
I mean, I'm gonna say 50-50. It depends on if we have what the engagement's like. But I want to hear from the audience because you all help us all. What do you think, Maya? Like if a dude brings you flowers on the first date, what you think?
I think it's very charming. It's very charming, and I would appreciate it, and I would accept the flowers, even though I'm more like a potted plant girly. Like I want to put it in the garden, but I would still accept the flowers. I think it's a very sweet and charming gesture. Okay,
so WKD Lama says flowers are only used to apologize for something like that. Anika DeShield says yes to flowers. Okay, yes to flowers. All right, I like that. Well, see, I was a guy until my therapist had a chat with me and Sherry. I just didn't like getting flowers. Flowers died. I'm like, I'm not getting new flowers. They're just going to die. And then I realized it's not about me. If that's what somebody likes and you have the ability to an opportunity to present them with some flowers, get the flowers. So, yeah.
You could pick them up on the way. There's so many flower and fauna in Bermuda as well. Like I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, we've got Mayola Jones says flowers depends on the attitude of the giver and recipient towards the relationship. Okay. Suzanne Ingham says it is charming, but what if the person is allergic? Oh my goodness.
Well, I hope we had that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Maya, have a wonderful day. We'll chat soon.
Chat soon.
All right, Maya Palacio, folks. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Before we come back, do us a big favor. Whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, any streaming platform, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We got a real good conversation coming up with Ondreyah Rochester because it's hard to network these days, folks. It's really difficult to network. We're going to find out how the BEDC is helping Bermudians to network. Stick with us. We'll be back in a few.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer's heating up, but your home, it can chill. BAC is turning down the heat with 20% off Carrier X-Power mini split AC units. They're sleek, whisper quiet, and smart thanks to energy-saving inverter technology. New install, upgrade, doesn't matter. Just don't miss out. For a limited time, get 20% off when you pay with cash, credit, or debit.
96 degrees, real hot.
Swing by BAC on Mill Creek Road today.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
At Umami, we don't just sell spices, we spark something bigger. We believe food isn't just fuel, it's connection, it's tradition, it's joy. Our dream? To help you eat better, love louder, and maybe even start a little food revolution. One home-cooked, flavor-packed meal at a time. Because cooking isn't just a chore, it's an act of love. Umami Spice. Gather, cook, connect.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thank you all for tuning in. Whether you're on Hot 107.5 or one of our streams, we definitely appreciate your support. If you're on one of our streams, do us a favor, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure that you are, sharing these conversations with as many people as you know to ensure that they have access to these conversations. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, also, we're excited. We're proud. This is week 2 that we have been on Hot 107.5. So thank you to Intelligent Communications. We're the real deal over there as well. But just like the Daily Hour, if you are a creator, if you have a podcast, if you'd like more exposure, please reach out to Glenn Blakeney at you can give him a call at 500-1075 or reach out to Glenn with 2 N's at hot1075bermuda.com. Trust me, if you have an opportunity, Glenn wants to help support you. Intelligent Communications is an amazing community partner, and they want to ensure that everyone who wants to be in this space has an opportunity to be exposed to a greater audience. So without further ado, let's bring our very special guest for the day. We've got Ondreyah Rochester from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. And folks, if you or you know someone who has a problem or a bit intimidated or scared or timid when it comes to networking and meeting people professionally, we're going to have a conversation that can help you today. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Ondreyah Rochester. Greetings, madam. How are you?
Morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I got to put you on the spot then.
Why?
Well, because it's what I do. And Maya asked a question. She asked, is it charming for someone to take flowers on the first date? So if someone bought you flowers on the first date, do you find that charming? Or
I knew you was gonna throw me into this conversation. I was hoping you wouldn't throw me into this conversation. I don't know. It would depend on the circumstance. I can't just say yes. I don't know.
Okay. All right. It's what I do. All right. We'll let it off the hook, folks. All right. We got you. But thank you so much for doing this, Ondreyah. I haven't seen you in a while. Like we haven't seen you in about 2-3 years. So I'm glad that I saw you in public and kind of asked you to come on and you accepted our invite. But just remind people, for those who may not know, what your role is at the BEDC, so that they can have an idea of what we're discussing.
Okay, so at BDC, well, first of all, my name is Ondreyah Rochester. At BDC, I am a micro, small, medium enterprise officer, and I'm also the officer that is responsible for the Northeast Hamilton Economic Empowerment Zone. So in a nutshell, I meet with clients, I teach courses, I come up with events, we help create policy, and I help build the economic empowerment system within the Northeast Hamilton Zone.
All right. Thank you for that. And so we have an event coming up. Just give us some background about, I've been speaking about it earlier, the upcoming speed networking event and what the main goal is for participants.
So next week we have an event called Pitch Perfect Match, which essentially is the business version of speed dating. So what will happen is that entrepreneurs will have the chance to pitch their ideas to industry experts for 1 minute, and then they'll receive 1 minute of feedback. And then they'll move on to the next industry expert and just pitch for about 30 minutes to different people. Interesting.
And like, who's the event designed for? An audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. This is such a cool thing to me. I'm a LinkedIn guy. I don't talk to people as much as I used to, but who's the event designed for? Like, are you targeting startups, entrepreneurs, or anyone interested in growing their network?
So I'm targeting any aspiring entrepreneur that's looking to redefine their pitch, current business owners that's seeking advice or how to move forward, as well as industry professionals and people that may potentially be able to invest in some of these ideas that they may hear throughout the night. And also just community members, because the money that is raised from the door funds is essentially what is used to give back that entrepreneur for the night for their winning pitch.
Indeed. I want to know from the audience, anyone on stream, has anyone ever participated in a speed networking? I don't want to say dating. I'm not trying to get in your personal business, but anyone ever participated in a speed networking event? Also, how do you go about networking in 2025? For me, I'm more of a LinkedIn vibe, and then using the platform that we're on now, like meeting people through this. So I'm interested to know how people, have you ever participated in something like this? Also, how do you go about networking? Ondreyah, how does the format work in terms of versus a traditional mixer? Like, you know how the BDC just had a networking event for content creators, right? Mm-hmm. What makes this more formal beyond what you just explained?
So this event is kind of two-filled. So one, you have the person that's just going to come to just be in the room and just network. And then you're going to have the other people who are actually coming to pitch. So you're going to have all sorts of people within that room. Me personally, networking is something that I really have to talk to myself about. It's not typically something that people like to do. You'll prefer to type or be on social media, but to actually be physically present is something totally different. But I always say that networking opens opportunities that some things just cannot do.
Indeed, indeed. We did ask a few people in the audience. Suzanne Ingham and Hadleen Swan said no, they've never participated in a speed networking event. Well, hopefully you guys can participate in this one. Speaking of it, what kind of connections or opportunities can attendees expect to walk away with? Are there specific industries or partnerships that people can hope to foster?
So there will be many industry experts across different industries, such as marketing, legal, accounting. So there will be a variety of industry experts in the room. I don't want to say their names because I don't want people to, approach them and bribe them in any sorts of way, but there will be multiple industry experts in the room throughout the night. So I feel, and also just other individuals with the same like-minded mindset. So I just encourage people to step outside the comfort zone. Also, this is something that you have to choose to do it single. Like if your friend don't want to do it, you have to take the initiative to do something for yourself. And it's always that potential that you may just be the person that walks away with the $1,000 to start your dream or build whatever dream that you are currently working on.
I like this. I mean, when many people think of the BDC, they think about like business advice or loans and stuff like that. They don't necessarily think of networking. Like just this this obviously is something that you're expanding services with, but how does it fit within the larger mission of supporting entrepreneurs and small businesses? Like, is this another step toward finding ways to help entrepreneurs that just came out the blue?
It is, and it also helps people to redefine the pitch. Us as comedians, we take very long to get to the point, right? So in this, I initially started with 3 minutes, and I was like, that's a very long time. That gives people time. Oh, I remember you from, and then you wasted your time on what you're really supposed to be there for. So I said 1 minute is enough time for people to actually get their point across. And then as you go on throughout the night, it's only right that you're going to get better and better and better throughout the night. So like I said, it's just a matter of stepping out of this comfort zones that we put ourselves into. But what if they don't like it? Or what if the judge don't like me? Or just things that just don't matter. If you're starting to build a business, it's just a step that you have to take for yourself. And that's always the first step, doing something for yourself. So that's why I said, if your friend don't want to come and you have a business idea that you've been sitting on, or if you have a business that's not growing and you need advice, this is the place for you.
It's interesting because, there are people who are nervous and very unsure about networking. Like, what tips or advice would you give to help them make the most of this experience?
We bottleneck everything. We feel like if I share this idea, somebody may steal it, or just all sorts of things that are just irrelevant to the point of just getting started. Like I said, networking is a very hard thing to do. So doing these types of events really helps you to become better, because networking is just a part of everyday life. No matter what you do, you have to speak to people in everyday life. So this is just another chance for you to, like I said, just redefine your purpose and come and get advice that you probably wouldn't ask on an ordinary day. This is your opportunity to use that 1 minute to ask questions and get the help that you are seeking.
Indeed. Just remind people, Canton Trott says before that, he says the BDC is the best. They open opportunities for small businesses. Shout out to Ondreyah and her team. Indeed. Where can people go to learn more? Like, how can they register, sign up? Like, is there direct us?
So you can register on bdc.bm under our courses and events under Pitch Perfect Match. The investment is $25, but as I said, these funds are pooled and go all to the person who wins the pitch of the night. So BDC, this is not a for-profit event. This is to build somebody else's dreams. It's on Thursday, June 19th from 6 to 8:30 at Newstead. And we'll have happy hour by the water, and then we'll move inside and begin the pitches and just have a great night.
What's the limit in terms of people?
The limit is 50.
Okay. All right, 50 people. Folks, you heard it. Get your tickets ASAP. It's only 50 people. And I like how you said it's an investment. It's not a cost. It's an
investment.
I think that goes to what I said earlier about community. Like, this is how community works, right? So thank you for what you guys continue to do. Appreciate it. Is there anything, final thing you want to say to any entrepreneurs out there who might not be able to attend this, but are having challenges networking and growing their businesses?
I would just say, become a member to BDC. And in that way, you would always be sent emails or be on our mailing list to be aware of these networking opportunities. We try to do them at least once a quarter. Because like I said, networking is really essential to business owners. You cannot hide behind a business forever. People want to know who you are. What's your story? Why should I support you? So you have to do these kinds of things and put yourself in these uncomfortable situations in order for people to even know who you are. Because a lot of times at these networking events, I'm meeting people and I'm like, oh, you own that business? Oh, I didn't know that you did that. So it actually just widens your connections. And I think that's something that Bermudians have to learn to do a little bit more, just be a little bit more open to things that are not comfortable.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Ondreyah. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for your patience and all the best with this event. Look forward to hearing about it. Talk soon. Don't be a stranger. Don't make it
I'm
another.
not going to be a stranger.
All right. I'll hold you to that. Talk soon.
See you later.
All right. Ondreyah Rochester, folks, if you appreciated the discussion this morning, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back after this. Y'all better not get this question wrong. We've got a daily play, and we're doing music today because you all made me do the wrong one yesterday and name that place. So we switch days. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Forget the usual. Ditch the ordinary. Go off-grid, where adventure meets barefoot luxury. Welcome to Off-Grid RV Bermuda, the island's first recreational vehicle retreat where nature meets luxury in a fully solar-powered Airstream RV. Enjoy eco-conscious linens, cozy robes, a stove, and full bath in a mobile home. You'll find peace in every detail of your stay. Now accepting bookings for overnight stays and half-day escapes. We deliver and set up your Airstream at one of our 10 hand-picked island gems or right to your private residence. Whether it's a honeymoon, golf getaway, birthday, or solo recharge, you'll get quality service every time. Book now at offgridrvbermuda.com and discover the sleep, serenity, and scenery you've been craving.
Hey, you all right, boy? I don't know, man. I finished running 20 minutes ago, and I feel like I'm still panting.
Look like you need to recover. Try this here. New drink. You're like you want to go to the hospital in 2 seconds ago. This will make you fast like Flora.
Tastes good.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
Hey, we again.
I'm recovered, bye.
Being from this little island, like yourself, we knew you needed access to reliable shipping. We set up mailboxes so you can skip all the long waits or held up in customs excuses.
With mailboxes, that won't happen. Get your packages in under 48 hours using our dashboard.
Plus, if you're a planner or headerer, our weekly consolidation service might be for you. We hold your packages in Delaware and ship them together to save you big time on shipping fees.
And with our warehouse being in Delaware, that means 0% sales tax. Pretty cool, right guys?
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Ondreyah Rochester from the BDC for stopping by. Folks, again, if you haven't already, whatever platform you're streaming on, please give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Help us beat the algorithm so that as many people as you know have access to these important community conversations as possible. All right, thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis, as well as Hot 1075. Again, if you know a content creator or podcaster and they want additional exposure, have them reach out to Glenn Blakeney, 500-1075, or Glenn with 2 N's at hot1075bermuda.com. Alrighty, folks, it is time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's music related today. Let's get ready, audience. Let's get ready. Who produced Michael Jackson's song Bad? We have a winner, Karen Simmons. It was indeed Quincy Jones, the late Quincy Jones. Yes, Mark Arthur C. Phillips got it. Jewel Eve got it. Everyone got it. I think Quincy Jones produced everything. He produced Thriller, Off the Wall, Ari Smith. Yep, she got it. It was Quincy Jones. Yeah. Well, Hadley Swan, of course, just says Jones because she knows him like that, right? Yeah, Jones. Yeah, she knows him just one name basis. But yeah, it was Quincy Jones. Let's wrap it up, folks. I just want to say this, as I said earlier. while I appreciate and I understand the need to have conversations as we look at the rising cost of living, I also believe that many of the problems we face in our community, as I stated earlier, are solvable from within. I think we can make better decisions, myself included. When I say we, I'm always including myself. We can find ways to live within our means. I know groceries, people say the prices of groceries are getting more expensive. If we live with one another, we can share that load. It's going to take sacrifice. But one thing I forgot to say along with sacrifice earlier, sacrifice only works with respect. It only works with respect. So we're going to have to respect others if the sacrifice has any chance of working. All right. If it means living, and I want to address the whole pool host thing. Ariana Hudson said earlier, like, many of us don't have, how many of our friends, family have pool houses? That's the point. That's the point. We don't. I'm gonna share something with you, and some of those close to me know. When I lived in Bermuda and I was saving for graduate school, I stayed on Nana's couch and I gave Nana money every month. So I don't just say this stuff, I've lived it. We have to give up something about ourselves to ease the burden on ourselves. We can do it. I can be an example to you if need be. And there are many others. But it's going to take sacrifice and respect. The conversation with Ondreyah Rochester, greatly appreciated. Big up to the BDC for continuing to find ways to encourage and empower entrepreneurship. Networking is not easy, folks. It's really not easy. I tell my colleagues, every guest that comes on this show is an opportunity to network, get to know them. We're having conversations with these people, with you, the audience. This is networking. This is engagement. It doesn't always have to take place in person or part of business. But thank you to the BDC for creating such an event. Ellen Kate Horton, Miss Horton says, I agree, Jamel, that's how most of us made it. And Miss Ellen Kate, we have got to get it back to that space. But we live in a time where we think everything that took place years ago is bad. We've got to change our mindset. We have to look at what worked for our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and figure out how we can make that work. Take our lives and our destiny out of the hands of those who only see us as profit. I would have left that as the daily inspiration, actually, but I'll give you Quincy Jones since he was the answer. Actually, this quote kind of ties in as well. Here's your daily inspiration for the day. Quote, you have to know that your real home is within, end quote. Our solutions are within, our real home is within. We need to do some self-reflection as a community. And by no means am I saying that things are not expensive and, things are not out of hand. The point I'm making is that we can respond to this stuff in ways where we can help ourselves. Alrighty. Folks, please, if you haven't already, whatever platform you're on, please give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, as well as Inter-Island Communications, and everyone at Hot 1075 for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.